last night, somebody needed to play just a little bit of defense, and they played none against my San Antonio Spurs, the two guys who last year protected the paint and the rim. And I know nobody wants to hear about this because this is the unglamorous side of basketball. But Bogut is now in Dallas, and my man Festus Ezeli from Vanderbilt University, way to go Festus, is in Portland. They don't have a rim protector. Zaza Pachulia last night was nowhere to be found. He played 20 minutes. He scored 2 points and had 3 rebounds and 0 block shots. And my Spurs managed to score 64 in the first half and 65 in the second half. You know why? Because it was a LeBron James memorial, super highway to the basket for my San Antonio Spurs. Yep. Whatever they wanted, they got. If they wanted offensive rebounds, they got 20-something of those. If they wanted rebounds in general, they got all of those because they won the boards 55-35. And again, before the game last night, you can check my timeline, I predicted that my Spurs would upset Golden State, but I didn't see 129-100. Golden State was an 8-point favorite at home. And I will remind you, all of last regular season, when obviously this team won a record 73 games, only once did they give up more than 129 points, and that was that first game back from the All-Star break when they were not ready to play at Portland on a Friday night, and Damian Lillard went berserk and scored 51, and they scored 137, did the Trailblazers at home. This was at Golden State. What a shocking reminder that somebody, while you're sharing the basketball, has to share defensive responsibilities. Listen, my Spurs are not a big team. That's why I couldn't pick them to win the West this year, because they're going to miss Tim Duncan over time. They're just not big enough. They've lost too many big people over time. Splitter, we could just go down the list of guys you'd say, oh, they're just guys or stiffs or whatever you want to call them. But my Spurs are not big enough with Pau Gasol. He's not a defensive force either. He looked like one last night. They made him look like a defensive force. My Spurs are small, and they made Golden State look smaller. So in the end, I look at what happened, and you know they moved the ball fine. And Kevin Durant had a pretty good night actually, making 11 of 18 for 27 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. But he was a minus 13 when he was on the floor and plus minus, which is pretty terrible because nobody could stop the Spurs. And I'm going to say this again. I tweeted this before the game also. If somehow my Spurs can figure out how to get through the West, and it's going to be a battle because I still respect the Clippers. I picked them yesterday, and I still have some respect for Golden State to figure this out, some respect. But if my Spurs manage to get to your Cavs in the finals, my Spurs will beat the Cavs. They always have, and they always will, except for Ray Allen. That was the only time.
No exception.
That's the only. My Spurs have the number of LeBron James, and in whichever team he's on, the Heat or the Cavs, they will win the finals, but they got to get to the finals first, and that's going to be a tall order.
They're 1-1 in the finals, Skip. Okay, when LeBron had his team, and the Spurs had their team. Okay, they're 1-1.
And by the way, the one you're talking about on my side was by a record margin of victory.
You win by 1 or you win by 50.
Yeah. Or you win by Ray Allen making the greatest clutch shot in history, saving the legacy of LeBron James, who had 3 turnovers in the last 3 minutes of Game 6 and missed the shot to tie.
We'll get a chance. Get a chance to talk about LeBron and his triple-double. But right now, let's talk about the Warriors and the Spurs. I do think the Warriors will be fine. And as you mentioned, they had not given up this many points in the regular season, but once all of last year. And here we are opening night, they're giving this up. Kevin Durant looked a little out of sorts because he's not used to continuous movement. The Warriors are a continuous movement team. He's used to dribbling the ball himself or having Russell dribble the ball himself. So he stands over there, watch Russell do what he does, and then Russell would turn around and give him the ball, and KD did what he does.
So you thought he looked a little lost?
Yeah, I didn't think he moved. I caught him at times just standing there watching, like, okay, what am I supposed to do? You got the ball.
That's all he ever did at Oklahoma State.
Exactly. Yeah. But he has to get into the flow of things. I think they'll be fine. Scoring points will not be this team's problem. Defense will. And they're a smaller team now. And this was concerning me going into the game. Rebounding and rim protection. And that's what got them beat a lot last year. When they lost in the finals, Tristan Thompson was a monster on the board.
He was a monster. He was.
And so once Bogut went out and now all you got is Draymond, now you're really going to struggle.